Hello. I am back. I know it's been a while since I was last on video. I hope you like my background. I thought it was cool since I'm being all futuristic and whatnot. The aim of today is just to discuss burnout and talk about my story, my experience with burnout, and the aim is to hopefully help somebody else who might be going through burnout and might not realize what it is they are going through. I have written some few things down so that I stay on track. So unfortunately, I am going to be reading and I will not be talking. Well, I'll be talking, but I will not be interacting with you. But I want to thank everybody who's joining for now. Thank you. As usual, I'm going to be reading, and so this is my story on burnout, and I will give some ideas on how you yourself can notice it and prevent it from happening to yourself. I hope I've got the right book here. So many notebooks. Okay, so I'll read because I want to stay on track. So this is my story inspired by burnout. What happened? My journey in burnout. What happened? Well, believe it or not, I quit my job. I know it's ridiculous, but that's what happened. I had just had enough. And you might ask, did you not fear the consequences? The answer was, at that moment, I did not care. I just wanted out. My personal circumstances were also another factor that was adding to the stress. At work, I was doing nights, and I guess it took me a while to realize that I am not cut out for doing nights. But I love the nights because it's a quieter time, no visitors, no relatives, and the patients are sleeping. So I thought, well, I could do that. But boy, oh boy, I was lying to myself. I had transferred from day, now I was doing nights. But that just added to the stress. Yes, on hindsight, I should have stayed on days. But when you are trying to figure out a way, something is not quite working. You try this, you try that. And so this was my other way. I was thinking maybe it's the days which are stressing me out. Let me try nights. So here we go. However, through it all, I did not step back. I did not evaluate my life. I did not evaluate how I wanted to proceed, how I wanted to move forward. I did not evaluate that. I tried applying for non-nursing roles, but I was turned away. So I resorted to quit. Oh, it had gone off. I resorted to quitting my job after I had tried everything. I applied and applied to 9 nursing roles, but to no avail. That pressure I had bottled in for all those years just finally popped open. And that was it. I left a profession of over 5 years to a life of uncertainty. That was quite scary. At that moment, it was a profession of over 5 years to a life of uncertainty. That was quite scary. At that moment, I was just like, And so many things were happening, so many things. And you know, when you're burnt out, you don't quite think as well as you should be thinking. Your thinking capacity is mashed up. I'll get into that later. Let me stick to this story at first. Instead of sitting back and evaluating my life and thinking, what do I do now? I found some cleaning jobs, which I did for 4 months, and quickly found out that was also not for me. My boys were like, Mom, just sit back, take the time to think, and then act. But the truth is, I did not want to face reality. I didn't want to deal with the problems that were going on in my life. I used to have a world I would retreat to in my mind, your inner world. But that too was crumbling. That world was crumbling. I had nowhere to run. So my world, this normal world, crumbling. The inner world, crumbling. So I had no choice but to finally face the truth. I sat down and looked at my life truthfully. And I was devastated at some of the decisions I had made. All I could say was, what was I thinking? The truth is, I wasn't thinking, but I asked myself, what was I thinking for me to make such decisions? I held on to a lie. I held on for dear life. Whilst I was in this situation, no one could have talked reason into me. No one could have. If you had tried to talk any sense into me, I would have just blocked my ears, la 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 la, and moved on. I had a vision and was going for it against all odds. But that is a story for another day. Back to my nursing career. As I was evaluating my career choices, I realized I started searching for a new role about 2 years after graduation. After I had started my new role, my new nursing role, I had already started looking for a new role. That should have been a clue that I need to do something. But no. I kept going. Because, you know, you think I've gone to uni, I've got the degree. You know, you think I've gone to uni, I've got the degree, and then ditching it just after 2 years. It took me 3 years. I might as well use it, you know, for a while. But you don't know, you are stressing yourself more and more and more. This was a shocking reality. I did not realize I had wanted out for so long. Before long, I started calling in sick, missing work due to long. Before long, I started calling in sick, missing work due to, and I was really sick. We were going to the doctor up and down. And I used to be quite a healthy person. All of a sudden, where is this illness coming from? Stress can make you sick. It can make you sick. Walking in the hospital corridors. But there was one thing I didn't like. I didn't like the paperwork. Oh my days. I'll be looking at it and like, what's the point? Why are we doing this all over again? Have they not already had this information? My days. I'll be looking at it and like, what's the point? Why are we doing this all over again? Have they not already had this information done? Why do we need to repeat it? Oh my days. I don't get it. The only bit I did was the skin evaluation. That is important. That is very important. Integrity and observations are always a must. Those you cannot skip. Yes, I did the thing, but, well, it's part of the role, isn't it? I tried to move into another area, tissue viability. I even took an intensive course to learn how to deal with wounds because I wanted to change. But can you imagine, after finishing the course, I realized wounds were not my forte. Yes, I had learned the skills and everything, and because I had now had the training, I had to push on because I had now had this extensive training. Uh, Although I didn't like it that much, it actually saved my life one time. I won't go into the details, but it was an essential skill to have. And I would say it is an essential skill to have, especially if you're a nurse. Learn about skin integrity. It will save your life. Anyway, I kept applying here and there to no avail. But looking back now, I realized that my CV was tailored for nursing jobs. That is why I was not getting any nursing roles. And then came COVID. Oh my days. I literally took 2 months off due to illness. Oh, and that was the last straw for me. I knew I had to leave. I didn't leave immediately during COVID. I stayed, I think, 3 more years after the COVID, give or take. And then I left. Why did I keep on being in the same row? Because I told myself, I don't know. Why did I keep on being in the same row? Because I told myself, I don't know. Why did I keep on being in the same row? Because I told myself, I don't know what else to do. I don't know. In the same row. Because I told myself, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I've always been a nurse. Oh, same row. Because I told myself, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I've always been a nurse. But the truth of the matter is, I used to be a housewife before I became a nurse. And I learned how to be a nurse. So the truth is, I can actually learn to do something else. Is that not right? I learned how to be a nurse. So the truth is, I can actually learn to do something else. Is that not right? So the truth is, I can actually learn to do something else. Is that not right? When you're not taking the time to sit back and learn to do something else. Is that not right? When you're not taking the time to sit back, is wrong. Do listen that. Be back, listen, up with a valid solution. Some can go not go it alone. Above all, do not leave God out of it. Remember, He cares about your work life too. So involve Him and ask for help from Him and be willing to listen. Because when you ask for help from Him, guess what? He will give you the help. Does He not say, ask from me and I will answer? So when you ask for help, listen to what He's telling you. The problem is we pray, and off we go. We don't sit back to listen. What has He told me to do? Why am I saying this? Because I am a victim. I am a culprit of doing that. I am a culprit. Oh Lord, help me. My life is a mess. I don't know what to do. And off I go. I don't stay on my knees to listen to what is the way forward. And I run here, there. No. When you ask help from God, sit back, listen for the direction. That is just something to really think about. Be willing to follow his steps. And come to think of it, the reason I suffered burnout, I had put God in the back seat. He was no longer in the driver's seat of my life. I put him in the back burner. There is life after burnout, but only for those who admit what is going on and are willing to deal with it. Now, I am going to read you one chapter from the book called Burnout Watch, a global guide to mental wellness through mind, body, and spirit. I hope you enjoy that. Let's have a read. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer than usual. So, the book overview. This book introduces a visionary public health and safety unit known as the GPHSU. So that is Global Public Health and Safety Unit. It's dedicated to tackling burnout as a systematic and cultural and personal crisis through holistic lens, looking at the mind, body, and spirit, because you are a three-part being. So just addressing the body will not help the mind, it will not help your spirit. You need to address all three components: your mind, body, and spirit. Because when all three are strong, then you are also stronger as a human. So they address burnout through a holistic lens, looking at the mind, body, and spirit. It reimages public safety by equipping individuals and communities with tools to recognize, prevent, and recover from burnout. Is that not what we are all looking out for? The purpose of the book is to educate the public on the epidemic of burnout, to advocate for holistic intervention system, to help individuals recognize early signs in themselves and others, to provide spiritually grounded, science-based resources for healing, and to inspire governments, organizations, and churches to take action. Wow, wow, wow. That is quite a tall order, isn't it? So what is burnout? Burnout is defined as a syndrome that results from chronic workplace stress. So chronic. This workplace stress has been ongoing and you have ignored it. So burnout results from chronic workplace stress that has been ignored or that has not been identified, because some people don't even know they have it. So how can you treat what you don't know you have? As they say, you cannot pour out from an empty cup. In today's world, many are trying to fill others' cups when they themselves are empty. And this usually does not end well for both parties. Because of this reason, this book has been written to help you refuel before you pour out, because you can only pour out if your cup is full. But if your cup is empty, how are you going to pour out? Remember that Bible verse that say, before you point out a speck in somebody's eyes, remove the log from your own eye. So treat yourself first before you go to treat others. I have looked at my problem. I have dealt with it. That's why now I can come and talk to you. I am back to normal. Huh? Can you imagine? I was going to dwindle and disappear if I had carried on and carried on and carried on. You don't have to actually quit your job to get to the point where I am. You just have to realize, something is not quite right. I need to address it. And you take the steps to address it. You take the steps to address it. And that takes skill. That takes realization. Asking yourself questions truthfully and answering them truthfully. Don't lie to yourself. If there has been a new technology that has been introduced in your workplace and you don't know how to use it, don't pretend you know how to use it. Ask for help. Go to the trainings you need to train. Because trying to use an equipment you are not equipped to use is going to stress you out. Trying to deal with patients you are not equipped to deal with is going to stress you out. So go for the training. Whatever it is that is wearing you down, if it is a colleague that is, because some colleagues bully other colleagues. I don't know, I'm not saying snitch or whatever, but ask for help. Bring up the problem. Ask for help. Maybe talk to them. Why are they bullying you? What is it? What's the problem? Because there are so many things that causes burnout. If the workload is too much, as a nurse, I know this is quite a tall order. You can't say it's too much, I don't want to do it. But don't keep on accepting extra shift. Cut back. I know there's shortages, there's this and this, but if you die and go bonkers, then you are of no use to anyone. So be honest with yourself. Where is this stress coming from? That was just a side note. So, understanding burnout in a burnt out world. Burnout is no longer a private problem tagged in hospital corridors or in therapy sessions. No, it is now being recognized as a global crisis which is affecting the working class, from busy executives in America all the way to nurses in Africa. So everyone is affected. In every part of the continent, everyone is suffering this burnout. Even teachers, pastors, parents are being affected, and many have left their loved profession because of burnout, and it ought not to be so. So it is time to address the problem, not to ignore it anymore. Not to ignore it anymore. It is time to address it. Okay, let me read again. Even teachers, parents, and pastors are being affected worldwide. People are running on empty. You would think with the amount of technology available to us, we would become more connected and fully functional individuals. But no, the opposite is true. We are now more disconnected than the generations before us. Worse still, we have become disconnected from ourselves, our purpose, and from each other. Such a scary situation to find oneself in this day and age. It makes one wonder what is really going on. That is just something to think about. And this gentleman, Gordon Parker, defined burnout as a state of being tired even after taking rest. You are not fatigued, you are not depressed, but you just feel weary and unable to concentrate. You develop brain fog, and above all, you feel and unable to concentrate. You develop brain fog, and above all, you feel as if your life is being sucked or drained from you ever so slowly. In other words, you feel as if something is killing you slowly. So, just what is burnout really? Well, it is a syndrome that results from chronic workplace stress. We touched on this definition some time ago, but let's look at the word syndrome. What is a syndrome? Syndrome represents a group of symptoms. So it's not only one symptom, it's a group of symptoms that occur together. And these symptoms help us identify the pattern of any disease. In other words, the disease progression becomes clearer and obvious. So you can't just have one symptom and say I'm burnt out. No, there has to be quite a few you are feeling at the same time. Then you know, yeah, something has happened to me. Gordon Parker and friends defined burnout as a state of being tired even after taking rest. Listen to the pattern that is imaging here. One feels tired, not fatigued or depressed. In other words, they are worn out, fed up, just had enough of whatever it is they are doing. They have given it their all and are now running on empty. You hear someone say, I have had it up to here. My basin is full. I just can't do this anymore. I just can't take it anymore. I have had enough. I am sure you recognize some of these words. You have probably said them yourself at one point. You look back at the situation or occasion that made you say that. What was going on? What was going through your mind? What step should you have taken to avoid feeling the way you were feeling at that time? What steps could you have taken? Like, suppose it's already happened. What steps now reflect, Gibbs reflection cycle? Sit back, think, okay, so that's and so happened. It made me feel worn out. It made me feel used up. It made me feel so confused. I could not even concentrate. What was happening? What was happening? Imagine a day where you get 3-4 admissions and you have to admit them all. You have to do the skin checks, the paperwork, care plans, everything. That is a power-packed day. And on top of that, you have to do drug round. On top of that, you have to do the bloods. You have to do skin assessments, this and that. Can you imagine? One day is fine, but imagine 2, 3, 4 of that kind of day. That is just something to think about. What can you do? What steps can you take? As nurses, I think we are guilty of not taking break. Because when you reach this burnout mode, this is just a side note, when you reach burnout mode, you are not as fast as you used to be. So it's now taking you longer than usual to finish things that you were able to do like in 45 minutes or so. It's now taking you hours and hours. You just become ridiculously slow. And you think, oh, I better come in early and leave later. Because you think the more I work, the more I put my heart into it, perhaps I'll catch up. No, it's not a matter of more. It's a matter of taking a step back, finding out what has happened, and change your strategy. Take breaks. I admire the smokers. Do you know how many times they go out for a little break? Every time, fresh air. Every time, fresh air. They save their lives. And you, non-smoker, you are just there. Going and going. No break. not even going for a pee, not even drinking water, you are doing yourself a great disservice. Take the time to drink water. Take the time to go to the toilet. Take the time to go eat that food. That break is yours. It's been dedicated to you. Take the time to go for that break. Do it. Because by so doing, you are easing the pressure from your mind. You are helping yourself. That's just something to think about. Don't rush the process. Stop, reflect on the words and thoughts that have become a recurrent occurrence in your head and mouth. If it helps, jot them down and ask yourself, what is going on and why is it happening? Be honest with yourself. Is there something I can do to change this situation? Unfortunately, too many nurses, pastors, or professionals do not recognize burnout. There have been too many nurses, pastors, or professionals do not recognize burnout. They have been told to take it like a man, keep it moving, walk it off. Well, burnout cannot be ignored. I heard somebody give this illustration, like, you know, the animal that buries its head in the sand. So it buries its head, no longer see the problem, but that doesn't that doesn't make the problem go away. The foolishness of burying head in the sand, because you can no longer see what's happening around you. It doesn't mean the situation is stopped. It's still going on. So no more burying head in the ground. Do not ignore the problem. It needs to be addressed, because feeling tired cannot just disappear. If no active steps are taken to address it, it will just morph into brain fog, inability to concentrate, feeling weary, and on top it all, life feels like it is being drained out of you and you are slowly dying. You cannot quite put your finger on it, but you know something is off, not right, and needs fixing. But how can you fix what you do not understand, what you do not even recognize, what you do not even know exists? So I'm telling you to watch out for brain fog, inability to concentrate, feeling tired even after taking time off, even after resting, after sleeping. Because it's not a matter of taking time off and thinking. It's a matter of re-strategizing. Re-strategizing. I was reading on self-awareness, because sometimes we do things that are contrary to our values, and that brings a strain, a clash in the mind there. But we keep pushing and pushing. Just be honest. Okay, fine. I am headed east and this job is taking me west. What am I supposed to do to realign myself so that I get back on track to head east again? It might be a matter of taking courses. It might be a matter of changing department. It might be a matter of changing your whole profession altogether. But do something. Don't ignore the problem. Because like I said, it morphs into something else. It will morph into diseases. And people actually die. Literally die. Kick the bucket. Get buried 6 feet under. Because they have ignored a problem they could do something about. Some have lost their mind. Some have slipped into depression because of ignoring a problem that could be addressed. And the good thing is, burnout is reversible. It can be reversed. So it doesn't have to be a big something. It's a matter of being aware. Be aware of who you are, what you are capable of. Be honest. If you can't do something, then learn how to do it. Learn how to do it. If something is become too much, be honest. I heard somebody, they were being asked to do this and this and this and this. Do you know what they said? Instead of just taking it on and saying, oh, I've been asked to do it, they asked the person, so from the work I already have, what do you want me to remove from my plate so that I can do this thing you have given me to do? I thought that was very clever. But most of the time we're afraid to do that. We feel if I do that, then I might be deemed as challenging authority. I might get fired. I might lose my job. I might be labeled uncooperative, blah, 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 blah. So we carry on, carry on, carry on, and to our demise. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If anything happens to you, you are very much replaceable. You are replaceable. Don't ever fool yourself and think, they can't do without me. They can. Just think of the other people who have died. Did the hospital close because those people died? No. They carried on. Wherever the workplace, they carried on. They found a replacement, sharpshish, and life carried on. So look after yourself. Look after yourself. That is just a side note from me. Let me keep reading. Well, burnout cannot be ignored. It needs to be addressed because feeling tired cannot just disappear. If no active steps are taken to address it, it will just move into brain fog, inability to concentrate, feeling weary, and to top it all, life feels like it is being drained out of you and you are slowly dying. You cannot quit. You cannot quite put your finger on it, but you know something is off, not right, and needs fixing. But how can you fix what you do not understand and even what you do not know exists? Time off work won't fix it. Doctor's appointment won't fix it. Sleep won't fix it. It is identifying it and addressing it that will fix it. And guess what? Burnout affects every aspect of who you are, and that includes your mind, body, and spirit. This is because burnout affects okay, I'm repeating. Burnout affects every aspect of your life and your being. And your being includes your mind, body, and spirit. We will anchor on Matthew 11:28-30. It reads, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." I like what he says. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. Learn from me. That is really a big clue, a big hint. Look at Jesus. When he came to planet Earth, he already knew his mission was to die at the cross to save humanity. So everything he did from the time he arrived on earth was in line with the agenda for salvation. Everything he did, every detour he took, it was still in line to saving lives. Learn from me, so we can learn. And what did he do? he would dismiss the crowd, go off, spend time in prayer, spend time away. He knew how to disconnect. He didn't keep in work mode. No, he would take time off. He would find time to go on retreats. You would find a time to even go for weddings. He would find a time to just be him and his disciples in a secluded place. Learn from me. If you were just to take the Bible and read it and learn what Jesus was doing. Even I, as I'm speaking, I'm like, oh, Violet. Anyway, that's just, you know what happens when you read scripture? Things pop into your head. This is just a reminder that true rest comes from God. Yes, we can discover this and that. It's it. Yes, we can discover this and that, implement this or that. But if we leave God out, we will wear ourselves out again and again. Look, he took the time to send you an invitation. Jesus took the time to send you an invitation. He says, come. All you have to do is go to him. Surrender all the heavy burdens to him and never take them back. Why never take them back? Because as humans, we say, all right, I'm okay now, Lord. I feel so refreshed. I feel so revitalized. Thank you, Lord. When things are not going well, you've heard, Jesus, take the wheel. So he comes to your rescue. He takes the wheel. But when he's taken the wheel, what do we do? Oh, is my phone not charging? Suddenly it's not charging. But it's on the charger. Why is it not charging? Okay, let me see if I can sort this out. One moment, I'll be back. I'm not running away. I'm just seeing if I can fix the charger. It's trying to die on me. Oh. Ameni munotipa idzongo nidzenyu ishe munotipa unane uchene ishe munopava nokunamata ishe munopama komborero iwawoma kombore. Oh, I am back. I'd gone off to get a charger because this one apparently is not charging. My phone is nearly dead. It was full 2 minutes ago. Well, I'm lying now. It wasn't 2 minutes ago when I started. So let me see if I can fix that. It wasn't 2 minutes ago when I started. So let me see if I can fix that. Okay, let's hope that will fix the problem and it won't die on me. If it dies on me, there's nothing I can do about that, really. There's nothing I can do. Okay, so he took the time to send you and me an invitation. He says, come, and all you have to do is surrender all the heavy burdens. Oh, thank you for everybody who waited. Thank you. I didn't even think to say that. Thank you for everybody who waited. I appreciate that. I say this because as humans, we have a tendency to self-reliance. I can do it. I can do it. Is that not even a mantra? When I can do it, I can do it. And our favorite scripture verse is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But the truth of the matter is, the Christ factor is on the back burner. It's on the side. It's I can do it. And Christ is not invited to this party because I can do it. I'm going to do it in my own strength. I'm going to do it in my power. I'm going to do it. But you're only human. I'm only human. We fizzle out. And what do we do? We take back our heavy load and off we go. Everything seems fine at first because we are full of beans. But after a while, that burden begins to crush us again. And we are back to asking for help from Jesus once again. The good thing is he never turns us away. He helps us over and over again. But there comes a time when you just need to realize God is well able to handle my affairs. You need to come to the conclusion, I can trust him with everything about my life. My Lord, as in Lord, will never burden him. So I am never taking it back, no matter how refreshed I feel. I need to choose to dwell in your presence, ask advice from him, and rely on him daily, for he will never let you down. Tell yourself, I've tried it my way, but I give up. For my way left me burnt out. Here I am, Lord, ready and willing to follow and obey you all the days of my life. Minute. Now we are moving on to how burnout affects you. Like I was saying, burnout affects you as a whole. It affects the mind. The mind gets affected ever so slowly. You might not even realize it because you think to yourself, perhaps I just feel tired. Why do you do that? You are rationalizing how you feel to validate yourself. But what you don't realize is, unlike ordinary fatigue, burnout isn't solved by a rest or a good night's sleep. Instead, it is a prolonged state of emotional, mental, and psychological depletion. So you have overused your emotions. They are now like running low, 1%. You're about to die. Not to die, kill over. But those emotions are kaput. This is when cynicism and detachment come in. You feel ineffective. You feel like a failure, a loss of joy, a loss of drive. When burnout takes over the mind, thoughts grow foggy, decision-making suffers, and a person may even lose sight of their own values and identity. The mind becomes a battlefield. I'm sure those who like reading, you have come across the book from Joyce Meyer, Battlefield of the Mind. It is a very informative book. The whole concept is that all our battles are fought, won, or lost in the mind. This is the battlefield. I lost my battle because I burnt out. Why? I ignored the problem. I knew I was feeling tired. I was feeling sick. I knew I was feeling resentful. But did I step back to review why is this happening? What has caused this? No, I just kept going and going and going. That's not helping myself. I should have sat back, like what I eventually did. I should have sat back and asked, wait a minute, I'm not normally a sick person. Why suddenly am I so sick? I'm not normally like this and this. Why has this suddenly turned up? When are the times this happens to me the most? What's going on? And then done something about it. I'm glad I have learned and I now know what to do. I can never be caught in that trap ever again. Because I now know how to keep Jesus at number one. I am never going to put him in the back burner. I am never going to say, I can do it, I can do it. With him, I can do it. In everything, in all situations, even the simplest. Do you know that he's interested in even how you dress, even how you maintain your hair? Those little things, because you are representing him on earth. He's interested. So why leave him out of anything? It's the mistake we make most of the time. I made that mistake. And when you've been a Christian for a long time, you don't realize you're making that mistake. You think everything is fine, everything is going well because of his grace. Just because you have left the goalpost doesn't mean he also lives. His mercies are new every morning. Thank God for his mercies. Otherwise, we would be destroyed. Wow, wow, wow. Though we are not faithful, he remains faithful. Wow, wow, wow. I am grateful to serve such a God. Anyway, this is not a Bible session. Let me carry on reading. Like I was saying, the whole concept is that all our battles are fought in the mind, and it is in the mind where we win or lose life battles. So that is just something to think about. Where was I? Okay. The mind becomes a battlefield of exhaustion, and this is a very dangerous state to be in, because only God knows what you are liable to do when in this state. This can be a time mistakes increases. Accidents easily happen, and irritation level skyrockets. It says irritation level at its highest. And the word consequences gets deleted from your vocabulary. Hence, one can easily walk away from their job, marriage, family, pastoral duties, or situation that brought out the burnout. I quit is just the last straw of burnout. It's a cry for help and a need to be removed from the situation they feel is choking them to death. How the body deals with stress. When stress turns physical, did you know the body speaks what the soul or mind suppresses? Which is why stress, anxiety, worry, fear, and burnout can translate as a disease. This is because it is a long-term issue. Remember what I was saying. Let me not go back there. Stress weighs down the nervous system, affects digestions, it weakens immunity, and it messes with hormone levels. People in burnout often report chronic fatigue, headaches, muscle pain, sleep disruption, increased illness, heart palpitations, inability to cope, easily cry, so many things. Meaning that what began as an emotional strain ends in physical illness. So why do people continue as they are? Because of staff shortages, long work hours, demanding job roles, no choice but to push forward. And others are afraid to stop because they know the bills won't stop just because they decided to stop. Hence, you find people just resigning to the situation they are in because they have no other choice than to stay. Besides, they know finding another job is nearly impossible. And they know so and so who suffered terribly because they left and could not get back in. They could not find another job because they are gatekeepers who make sure of it. I leave it at that. They suffered terribly because they left and cannot get back. Hence, they just hold on for dear life. What a frightful situation to find oneself, which is why this book had to be written, so that you learn how to identify and prevent burnout before it takes you out. Guess what? Before it takes you out, you take it out. How burnout affects the spirit. When you feel disconnected from life itself. Not many people realize that burnout affects your spirit too. Hence, not too many people speak on this. However, I understand that all humans are spirit beings who are having a human experience. Hence, your spirit is bound to be affected by different aspects of your life. As you might already know from reading this book or personal experience, a burnout does not only affect what you do, it attacks who you are spiritually. And this can manifest as numbness. This is numbness in prayer, numbness in worship. It doesn't move you anymore. You cannot even encourage yourself in the Lord. You are not feeling it. No excitement about anything. You feel like you are just going through the motions. You sing, you pray, you dance, you smile, but you feel nothing. You wonder, what is wrong with me? You dance, you smile, but you feel nothing. You wonder, what is wrong with me? Be honest. If you have ever felt numb, you feel it's pointless. Why are we doing this? That might bring you back on. Tailor your CV at working towards it, little by little. If there's somebody you trust, seek help, seek advice. People are more than happy Oh, I had to do that quiz to show that I'm still here. Otherwise, it will log me off. Yeah, I'm here. It's all me. I'm not a zombie or a robot. Sorry. You can see I'm feeling much better. Eh? I had lost this sense of humor. I had become a zombie, a robot just going through life, just going through life. I am full of beans. I am full of life, raring to go. And God has been faithful. God is doing what only He can do. Thank God we have a God who helps to restore the mind, who helps to restore the body, who helps to restore your spirit. Wow, wow, wow. And I thank God for my boys too. I thank God for the season, for everything. I am truly thankful for the church family, for the season, for everything. I am truly thankful for the church family. God for my church family too. Wow, wow, wow. It is important. And emotional shutdown. You don't realize you have trapped yourself because you are done. You to express how you feel because no one is listening and no one understands. So you withdraw. Just what? You just want quality time with yourself. Don't want to go out or spend time with family or even the dog or any pets you might have. Why? Because it is all a drag. Too tasking for the soul. Can't do this anymore. Besides, you feel dizzy, you feel nausea, you develop breathing problems, anxiety levels are creeping up slowly, slowly, slowly. You just lie there, no hope, and nowhere to turn. If no action is taken, one can easily slip into depression. So do not ignore the problem. Take action today. Another symptom is deep sense of disillusionment. This is a feeling of disappointment, either in yourself or in your job or in others or in a situation that has brought you to this. Dissatisfaction. You probably thought you would be doing your job for life, only to find you do not want to do it anymore. Can you imagine feeling like that? It's like losing your whole identity. If you are no longer a nurse, then who are you? If you are no longer a pastor, then who are you? If you are no longer a mom, then who are you? This can lead to loss of faith, feeling sadness, confusion, hopelessness, and a lot of feelings pop up. Why? Because what you expected versus what is happening are two different things. I came across a research paper which says many nurses quit nursing 2 years after graduation. Why? Because expectation versus reality are clashing. And if you remember when I was telling my story, it was around about the second year mark that I wanted to quit. Why? Because expectation versus reality were clashing. I just didn't pay attention. I just kept going and going and going. So don't be caught in the trap of going and going and going. Do something about it today. You don't even have to take time off. After work, sit back, have a conversation with yourself. Be honest with yourself and start now planning. If you can take the time off, that's even better. If you can't, use the hours that you have. And in between, remember, take breaks, drink water, go to the toilet. Just breathe. Make friends. Learn if there is a senior, someone. Learn from them. How did they cope? Because they might have gone through what you're going through. If they're honest with you, they will tell you how they navigated through life. So learn from them if they are willing to share with you. That is just something to think about. Like I was saying, confusion and hopelessness, a lot of feelings pop out. Why? Because what you expected versus what is happening are two different things. Your reality is a nightmare. Your expectation was happily ever after, but that is not so. So how do you reconcile the two? Don't ignore, don't brush off. Instead, acknowledge what is happening. Find new resources, new sources of meaning and purpose. Be kind to yourself, because when we realize we are not coping or we are not doing as well as we thought we would be doing, we have a tendency of being harsh to ourselves. Oh, you hear people in movies going stupid, stupid, stupid. That seems cool. It is not. It is not cool to abuse yourself like that. That's verbal abuse. You're personally, verbally abusing yourself. Don't do that. You are not stupid. You made a mistake. That's fine. Step back, reevaluate, re-strategize, ask help from God, and start going in the right direction. I always say it's never too late. As long as you are breathing, it is never too late. It is never too late. Have you not seen people getting remarried at 70 something? It's not too late. Going back to school, graduating, 80 years old. Because it's, as long as you're breathing. Mr. KFC, how old was he? As long as you're breathing, it is never too late to turn your life around, to start going in the direction. Now you start living on purpose. You now know which direction you want your life to take, and you go that direction. Go that direction. Anyway, reframe your thoughts and seek help, because let's face it, not everyone can do it by themselves. Not everybody can get out of burnout by themselves. So if you feel you need help, seek help. Seek help. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to do it on your own if you're failing, because you will continue to fail. So seek help. Seek help. Seek help. It's an urgent matter. Seek help. Don't feel bad if you recognize yourself in what I am talking about. Remember, burnout is not a weakness, but it is a warning sign to you as a human. And your body is telling you to do something. Please do not ignore. Burnout is not a weakness. Remember, burnout is not a weakness. It is a warning sign. No matter how strong you are, and no matter how much you love your job, if care is not taken, then you can be a victim of burnout. It is those who give of themselves who are the most vulnerable to this epidemic. In other words, the more you serve, the higher your risk of burnout, because you do it with all your heart, with all your strength. You're giving your all. You leave it all. Which is why this topic needs to be addressed. Why? Because nurses, doctors, teachers, police officers, priests, bankers, pastors, bus drivers make up a high percentage of the world's workforce. In essence, they are essential workers, and they are at risk group. They are at risk group. Which means burnout needs to be addressed at a global level. Why does it matter globally? The World Health Organization has officially recognized burnout as an epidemic. It is coined occupational phenomenon, particularly in work context, but the reality is broader, because burnout can affect anyone. Therefore, it is reasonable to say burnout affects family systems. Because if I'm burnt out and I come home, do I want to interact with my family? Do I want to carry out any other duties? No. I'm done. I'm kaput. I'm tired. Period. So it affects family systems, especially those dealing with illnesses, loss, disability, caregiving. It also affects churches and ministries, because pastors give and give and give. It also affects governments and social care, and it affects entire healthcare systems, especially nurses and doctors too, but nurses, because they take on the burden of everybody else. They're everywhere, but at the same time, nowhere. So they are the most affected with burnout. I came across an article which was talking about nurses having a high suicide rate, and found it very interesting, because it just shows that burnout is something that needs to be addressed, recognized, and prevented. Suicide due to burnout is on the rise, just as mental health issues have also risen, and this combination could be why suicides are also on the rise. I'm not implying that burnout is a mental health issue. No, not at all. But I am saying burnout usually starts with stress, which develops or progresses to anxiety, and in worst cases leads to depression, which explains why many remain silent when attacked by burnout. They are afraid of the stigma. What will people say? What will happen to me? The stigma of being labeled weak-minded, especially in the Christian community. Did you know all workplaces have resources for mental health, but not everyone has access to them because it is reserved for those who come out? For those who disclose that they have a problem, would it not be more effective to make everyone aware of these resources, where they can be found and how to access them, as part of ongoing learning development? It would be more effective. Equipping workers with information and awareness and prevention would be forward action in addressing the ever-increasing crisis or issue of burnout. Why? Because it is affecting the mind, body, and spirit. It's time to admit that burnout is dangerous. This is no longer about self-care. Instead, it is now a matter of public safety. Why burnout is often ignored? Cultural glorification of business. The busier you are, the more admired you are. You hear people say, sleep is for suckers. I wake up 4 a.m., 3 a.m., and I start grinding. Yeah. And then, because there is glorification of being busy, but to what end? If you're working towards finishing a certain project, then yes, that is acceptable because it's only for a short time period. But being busy to no end, that is not a good lifestyle. That is not a good lifestyle. If Jesus himself could take the time to sleep, could take the time to take himself away from the public, then you, a human, what do you think you should do? You should do better. You should do better. Anyway, back to the... Let me stick to the book, otherwise I've been taking so many side notes. I've been here for a while because I keep taking side notes. Anyway, let me stick to this. Okay. It's time to admit that burnout is dangerous. It is no longer about self-care. Instead, it is now a matter of public safety. Why burnout is often ignored? Like I said, cultural glorification of business. The busier you are, the more admired you are. Another reason, spiritual shaming. If you had just prayed enough, you wouldn't feel this way. You would not be in this situation. Believe you me. As wrong as that sounds, sometimes, let me put it this way. If you had just remained close to God, you would have been preserved. But as humans, we tend to wander away from our protection. Because why? We think we can do it. And I leave it at that. Moving on. Toxic work cultures. Example, there is no support. Management really doesn't offer support, no training, this and this. So many, there's bullying, racism, this and that. That's a toxic workplace. I guess you can think of other examples of toxic workplaces. Another reason, it's lack of awareness. Lack of awareness of early signs of burnout. And another reason why people keep quiet, it's a stigma around mental health, especially in faith communities. But I find lack of awareness is the biggest reason. Many people don't know they're burnt out. They just know something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong. I remember one nurse who always used to say, I've heard it up to here, I've heard it up to here. And we would be laughing, like, what do you mean you've heard it up to here? Because we did not know or recognize the signs of burnout. She had burnt up. And because no one recognized what it was, eventually she left. So that is a sign of burnout. When somebody keeps talking, I've had it up here, I've had, and they keep being tearful. They come to it, and a little thing irritates them. They start crying. This and that. That person is burnt out. Don't make fun of them. Don't tease them. It's time to take action. You, as management, pull them aside. Be knowledgeable about burnout. Understand it so that you can recognize it in your workers. Don't be locked in your office all day long. Come out. Look around your workers. Look around your work. I remember my very, very first boss. Oh, my days. She was always out of the office, walking around, walking around. At that point in time, I didn't understand what she was doing, but she was keeping up to date with her workers, seeing who is themselves and who is not themselves, who is doing what they should be doing, who is not doing who is coping, who is struggling. Obviously, not many appreciate it. That's why many bosses end up keeping themselves in the office, because they know the employees may not appreciate. But at the end of the day, these people are your responsibility. So you need to keep an eye on them. I'm not saying micromanage, but know what is happening in the lives of your employees. No, say this demeanor has changed. No, this is not, no. The way they're behaving is not themselves. Pull them aside. Don't try to address the issues in front of everyone. They will not tell you the truth. Pull them aside and talk about it. You'll be surprised. So as management, recognize burnout symptoms, how it affects people, and then you'll be able to trace it in yourself and in others and render the proper help. We have systems that call 911, 999, 111 for all emergencies. But there is no system when a person's soul begins to shut down. We need to improve on this. That is why this book exists. The mission of this book is not just about defining burnout, it's about defeating it. We will introduce a new vision for global public health and safety units focused on mental health, equip you with tools to identify early warning signs in yourself and in others, teach how to engage your mind, body, and spirit in prevention and recovery, inspire communities, governments to build burnout resilient systems, restore the idea that your well-being is sacred, not selfish. As I end reading this chapter, there's just a power thought. You are not alone. God said, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. You are not failing. You are just burnt out and need to realign yourself to your true purpose, to your true values. I leave you with this tip. When you start self-evaluation, be honest with yourself. Start by becoming self-aware. What do you like? What do you value? What are you good at? And what are you not good at? Be honest and write the answers down. Assess them and ask yourself if you are aligned with your goal and values. If the answer is yes, so why are you burnt out? Has there been an introduction of a new technology in your workplace? Have you been well trained to use it? If not, talk to management, get proper training, and see if that won't improve the situation. That's just an example. If you answered no, if you answered no, values, goals, alignment, what are you talking about? So if you answered values, goals, alignment, what are you talking about? Then that is your homework. Discover who you are and what you value and hold dear. What can you do to get on track? Make a plan and get to work. Be deliberate about your actions. Burnout affects your actions and your brain controls your emotions. In other words, you have the power to take control of your inner world. Build resilience so that no matter what is happening around you, you remain grounded. It's your brain, your body, your spirit, and you can take it in a new direction. But only if you recognize where your problems are stemming from. Acknowledge that there is a problem and take action to address it. Seek help. Or do it alone if you feel you can. But remember, a healthy mind, body, and spirit is equal to a healthy individual and a safe work. It requires a whole person and whole system response grounded in truth, rest, and renewal of the mind. And thus ends chapter 1. Wow. Oh, thank God, because I actually was tired of reading, but I actually enjoy reading it. I actually did enjoy reading it, and I found it quite helpful. Yeah, I found it quite helpful. And that is all from me. I want to thank everybody who joined me and watched. I pray that it wasn't just another session, but you actually learned something. You're going to take this issue seriously. Look at your life. If you have been feeling tired, you rest and still feel tired. If you're suffering from brain fog, FOG, if you cannot concentrate, if you are having to work longer and harder for tasks that used to be so easy, if you have become irritable, if you've become sick, increased off days, you just can't take it anymore, then that is burnout. You are burnt out. It is time to take action. Do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Do something, because ignoring this will not make it go away. No, 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 no. It won't go away. It will remain. I don't know how much I can emphasize the fact that you need to do something about it. Don't ignore. I know life responsibilities and this and that. But like I said, do something. Don't do like what I did and quit. But I only ended up quitting. Why? Because I had ignored it for a long period. The problem with burnout is it can last a week, it can last a month, it can last months, it can last years. So you can be burnt out for years and years and years, and this becomes your norm, your normal state of being. It's just the way I am. I'm just tired all the time. Taking supplements, taking medications, you're not helping yourself, because this situation is reversible. And how do you reverse it? By taking the steps to remedy the problem. If it is too many hours you've been working, cut back. If it is you have not been eating well, then start eating well. This body, you need to treat it right. Because without this body, your work on planet Earth cannot continue. So look after this body, look after your mind, and look after your spirit, and you will be just fine. I think I've talked enough. I'm sure I've talked for more than an hour. So it is time for me to go. It is time for me to go. Thank you to everyone who joined. Do your own research also on burnout. Yeah. Don't ignore. No more ignoring it. It is time to address it. It is dangerous. It is very, very dangerous. And when the diseases start showing up in your body, these won't be like mimicky disease. There will be real, actual diseases. Lethal, dangerous. That's why you find many healthcare professions. If you were to take a survey, find out how many healthcare professions have a disease of some kind. You'll be shocked. Now you know where it is stemming from. Burnout, work stress that has been ignored. It's time to strategize. It's time to re-evaluate how we do what we do. I said I was going, so I am going. Have a blessed, blessed day, and keep learning, keep growing, and become victorious in all you do. Goodbye.